Welcome back, guys. So many of you have problems in solving questions with regarding recursion or dynamic programming, right? You don't know how to basically start these questions, how to approach these questions, or what kind of mindset you need to have, what kind of conditions you need to make. All right. So basically, that is why we have chosen this problem, maneuvering a cave problem, right? Because this question itself is very easy, not very hard from the viewpoint of a complicated dynamic programming question, right? But this will give you a very generic idea of how to approach these sort of questions. After watching this video completely, you'll know from the next time you'll never have difficulties in solving such type of questions, and at least you'll know how to approach these questions, right? And after that, you can come up with the logic on your own, right? So moving on to the problem description. The task is to count all the possible paths from top left to bottom right of a M into N matrix with the constraints that from each cell you can either move only to right or down. So only two paths are possible, right or down. Unlike other graph problem that we have recently solved, where we can move to all the eight directions, right now we can only move to two directions. So it makes our question a hell lot easier, right? First line consists of t test cases. First line of every test case consists of n and m, denoting the number of rows in columns respectively. Single line output, that is count of all the possible paths from the top left to bottom right of an m into n matrix. Okay, so we have been given two inputs, basically one input, sorry, one example. It has two test cases, 3 3 and 4 4. The answer for 3 3 is 6 and the answer for 4 4 is it should be 20. Okay, so let's just try to dissect one of the examples. I'll just take a 3 3 example. Okay, so assume that this is a cave. Okay, I'll just mark all of them as x. Okay, x means till now I've not traversed them, I've not went their side. Okay, so basically this is the position from where I start, right? This is the start position and this will be the end position. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, what done. So this is my start position and this will be my end position, the rest of the part. Okay, okay, right. So I want to find all the possible, paths from where I can reach from this position to this position. The only constraint is that we can only move to bottom or to right, right? So basically, now let's start creating a boundary condition. That is the first step that you need to keep in your mind, because that will you will need it in both recursion and dynamic programming. Why? Because in recursion you need to suppose you'll I'm just talking about two approaches, even though this question can also have a third approach. But for that, you need to have a strong quant. But let's just ignore it right now. So for recursion, you need to have one thing, and that is what you need to have a base condition. Base condition means where to stop. You need to know that when you are using a recursion. Okay. And what about dynamic programming? So I don't know the definitions that you have learned about dynamic programming, but to me, dynamic programming is like, basically you are generating new solution using the sub problems. In recursion, what you do is you calculate the solution of a sub problems again and again, right? That is what you do in recursion. That is the reason why the complexity of recursion is generally so high, because you create a new stack every time you call the function again. But in dynamic programming, what we do, there are two approaches, a top to down or a bottom to top. Okay, but in basically dynamic programming, you use the solution of your sub problems to generate generate the answer of your current problem. This is as precise as I can be on the topic of dynamic programming. This is one line that can define DP completely. Okay, so for that, you need to at least have solved some sub problems, right? You need to at least know the answer of a few sub problems, and after that, once you have just created a few sub problems, after that it will have a ripple effect. You can just call your loop, and all of your unknown problems will be solved. Okay, so I'll come to recursion a little bit late because it's very easy. First, I'll tell you about dynamic programming. Okay, how am I going to use the subproblem logic here? So basically, I am currently at this point. Okay, so I can on I need to find the total number of ways, right? I have to find total number of ways. So what is the total number of ways from which I can, basically this is start. So from what is the total number of ways from which I can reach from here to here? There's only one way, right? So I'll just mark it as one. There's only one way possible. What about this point? How many total possible ways are there? Again, there's only one way. Why? You might be thinking, why not? Let's just go from here to here, and then from here to here, and from here to here, from 1 1 to 2 1, from 2 1 to 2 2, from 2 1 to 1 2, right? But we can't. We can only move to two sides, bottom and right. So this is the creation of our subproblem solution, and well, it's quite interesting that this is also the base condition that we'll be using when we are calculating using recursion. So just focus right now. What about this point? Same. There's only one way possible. Why? Because we can only move to bottom or right. And if you just move right, only then you can reach to this point. So again, there's only one way possible. What about this point? Again, only one way. You can only move to top. What about this point? Sorry, you can only move to bottom. What about this point? You can again there's only one way because you can only move to bottom. So trust me, if you have just just solved these conditions, you have done your problem 90%. Now you only need to just write a couple more lines, but that is very easy. But this was the main part once you have figured it out. Okay, so how now, what about this line? How many possible ways are there? There are two possible ways. First, if this is 1 1, then I can move from 1 1 to 1 2, and from 1 2 to 2 2, right? What is the other way? I can move from 1 1 to 2 1, and from 2 1 to 2 2. Great. So this is 2. Okay, what about this point? There are three way possible. How? 1 1 2 1 2, 1 2 2 1 3, and 1 3 2 2 3. What are the other ways possible? From 1 1 to 2 1, from 2 1 to 2 2, from 2 2 to this point. Okay, what is the third way possible? From here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. Okay, done. Very easy. What about this point? Again, there are only three way possible. What about this point? There are six way possible. Now, how was I able to tell about these values directly? Because I am using dynamic programming, and what dynamic programming says, remember the definition, that you use the solution of a subproblem to generate the answer of a current problem. So if I want to come to this point, okay, I want to know how many possible paths can lead me to this point. Okay, what is this point? This is 2 3. How many possible paths are from me to come from start to this point? And I say there are only three possible paths. How do I say that? Because I know that if I want to, I can come here. I can come to 2 3 from only 2 points. I can come here from either 2 2, or I can come here from either 1 3. Okay. So only these paths are possible. I can actually, sorry, I can come to 2 3 from either 2 2 or 1 3, right? Because I can either move to bottom or right. There's no other way possible to come to 2 3, right? This is the only one path. Now what? How many total paths are possible to reach to 2 2? There were two paths possible. Okay, and how many total paths were there to reach 1 3? There was one path possible, sorry. So that is why the total number of paths possible to reach 2 3 is 2 plus 1. Two paths come from this point 2 2, and one path come from this point 1 3. And bam, this is how you solve dynamic programming. I hope by now you know how I did it. I just created some boundary conditions, which initially seemed very lame, right? Because you might be thinking, what is this doing? 1 1 1. But that is how we solved. I know now that to all these points, uh, basically to reach all these points, I only have one path possible. But if I want to reach to any other path, I need to go from these ways, from basically these possible paths, right? But don't forget the order, right? I directly cannot come to this point. I directly cannot calculate the total number of paths to this point. I need to go sequentially and calculate all of them. So I started from here. I see that this is the point 2 2, and I can only come from 1 2 or 2 1, right? And what are the total number of ways from what are the total number of paths for 1 2? It's 1. What about the total number of paths from 2 1? It's again 1. So our answer is 2. So the value of this should be replaced by 2. And after that we'll solve this, and after that this, and after that this. So this is how you solve a dynamic programming question. I hope now you know this approach, and we'll be using this for coding, but just give me a second, because I need to tell you about recursion also. So again, sorry, this was what we were doing, right? This was our cave. I'm just taking 3 3 for example because it's much more easier to understand. So basically this is my point 1 comma 1 and this is my point 2 3 comma 3. Now how do we approach a recursive question? Okay, so in recursion, how do you create your base condition, right? Because that is very important. So I'll just actually move to the coding part that will help you understand it a lot. So this is my recursion part. Okay, so let me just create a function that will be named as uh, count paths. Okay, so I have only two values, right? From where I start and till where I go. Sorry, basically the x and y, my final x and y positions, right? So now I need to write my base condition. Okay, the most important thing, base condition. Okay, so what will be my base condition? Okay, we have seen in dynamic programming that if this part or these basically if the row is 0 or if the column is 0, then the value should be 1. Why? Because we know that the number of paths, the total number of paths to reach that particular point is 1, right? So that will be our base condition because we start from 3 3. We need to calculate the total number of paths from 3 3, right? But right now I don't know the total number of paths anywhere, and in order to calculate this part I need to at least have solved a few paths, right? So that is why I just need to use my base condition. It will help me stop, it will tell me, it will actually help me return from where I started. Okay, so basically what will I write? I'll just write that if my x is equal to 1, if my basically row is equal to 1, or is my row is column is equal to 1, then please don't do anything, just return 1, which means if you have come to this point, then there is only one path possible, and after that you can just keep adding the total number of paths. So this basically this will give me a base condition. After that, how do I call my recursive call, right? This is the second part. So my recursive call, what will it be? So count paths. Okay, and I hope you know that we can only move to two directions, right? If you could have moved to four direction, wouldn't need to call it four times, right? So I can only move to two directions. Okay, so first is this, sorry, and okay, no, x plus one, not x plus one, no, x comma y plus one. Okay, so basically what recursion does is I'm not actually going forward, I'm actually coming backwards, right? Because recursion backtracks. I hope you know that recursion creates stacks. So if I want to come from 1 1 to this point, to if I want to move to top, bottom, or right, then suppose this is my coordinates x and y. If I want to need to move to bottom, then what I do, I just x plus 1, right? I do this. So initially my but that is when I am starting from 1 comma 1, right? But this is recursion, right? This is where thing inverts. So I'm starting from 3 to 3, and if I could use if I was able to move to bottom and right in recursion, I can only move to I can basically move to top or left. So how do I do that? For bottom, I'll have to use top, x minus 1 comma y. I'm actually coming back, right? I'm actually coming back. I'm not going from 1 1 to 3 3. Actually, I can even go, I can do that. I can do that also. I can actually have a current x, current y, and I can move to, final x and final y. I can do that. But that will give me a lot of variables, and I'm just trying to ignore that. So I'm just moving from my final x, final y to this position 1 1 because I know that always the value will be 1 1. I need to come back to 1 1. Okay. And plus, I know that the value of these, or whenever the row or column is 1, I am just using, I'll just initialize them to 1. Okay, that is exactly what I'm doing. So I have just called my count path x minus 1 comma y. This will help me go backwards, and this will help me go upwards. Okay, this will move left, this will move right, and this will move top, sorry. So basically with this I'll have my paths calculated. Okay, so now what do I need to do? I just need basically what I'll just take the input to show you if my code is working or not. Okay, so t input while t and t equals to t minus 1. Okay, and after that I have my x comma y. I'll just map them into int and input delimited by space. Okay, and now I'll print count paths, x comma y. Okay, now let's try to execute our code, and trust me, this is really simple. This was all you needed to do for recursion. Okay. No errors. Okay, now we have errors. Maximum recursion depth exceeded in comparison. Why? X or Y, this 233 print maximum recursion depth exceeded. They are not returned. Return 1, return count paths, x minus 1. Okay, I think I know. M equals x equals to 1. Okay, this maybe this might have been causing a trouble, but it's rare. So I have gone backwards and okay. I'm so sorry. Why did it subtract it? Yes. Okay, now let's try to run our code again. Yes, for 33 we get 6. Sorry, 33 we get 6, and for 4 we get 20. So that is correct. That is our answer is moving correct right now. Okay, now we have done recursion. Now let's move on to dynamic programming. Right, it's really important. But trust me, you have already solved half of the question of dynamic programming, because now you know how to approach the question of dynamic programming. You know that you need to just first solve a few sub problems, and after that you are done. So I'll just create a what? Let's just say I'll just create a 2D list. Okay, so it will initially have this value of 0. Okay, so by the way, I haven't even created a function, and why am I in so much rush? So def count paths, I'll have the same name, and here I'll have again x and y. Okay, so for 0 in range of, I'm just basically creating a 2D array, matrix, list, vector, whatever you want to say. There's no need to worry about that. For 0 for x in range of this, and after that this for in range sorry, for j in range of y plus 1. Okay, so I think we have this created a 2D list. Okay, no errors. Okay, after that what I'll do is I'll just iterate through this complete list as I mentioned before. Okay, I'll just iterate through them for j, because I need to go to all the possible, all the possible grids. Okay, and after that comes our sub problem solution. What was that? If the row is 1, or the column is 1, because we know that for these values we have already know that for these values there's only one path possible, and that is exactly what I'm writing. So if my row is 1 or my column is 1, what I say that their value will be 1. Okay, otherwise if this is not the case, then we need to solve. But how do we solve that? Simple. How did I calculate it? How did I calculate 2 here? I said you can just add the values from this path and this path, because this is from where we came, right? I came from this path and this path. So if this is x comma y, actually this is exactly what we did at recursion also. All right, uh, x comma y, then from where can I come? I can come from x comma y minus 1, and x minus 1 comma y. So I just need to value of these two places. So the total number of paths at path I j will be always equal to what? Path of I minus 1 j plus path of I and j minus 1. And this is all we need to do, right? DP is not that hard if you know your correct approach, and after that you just return your DP of uh, what? DP of x comma y, and this with this you are done. Now let's try to execute our code again. Let me check the errors. 0 for, okay, uh, it's very rare to not get errors. Okay, now again run code. Okay, not dp, I want to say path. Okay, run code. So many errors, so many errors. Okay. Yes, it works perfectly. For 3 3 we get 6, for 4 4 we get 20. Okay. So for this, I hope now you've understood what designing programming is. But I say that for this solution, there's again an answer. Uh, the two that we have till now seen are recursion, dynamic programming, and the third one, the best one actually, it is combinatorics. Basically, you are just calculating the total number of combinations. But for this, you need to have a good knowledge of quant. And I would love if you can, just go to online and search, because this is already a proven, basically, what would you say? A proven theory, a proven fact that if you want to move from this place to this place, and these are the total number of paths, then basically how much, how much total number of paths are possible. If you want, I can actually give you an answer. The answer is pretty much simple. That suppose you are moving from x plus y, right? X comma y. So what will be the answer? X comma, x plus y. Sorry, what was that? X plus y minus 2 factorial. You can put your answer. You can put your values in this part, and you will definitely get your answer. Comma x minus 1 factorial into y minus 1 factorial, and this will give you an answer with while using combinatorics, right? So this is another approach that you could have used while solving this, but for this you I always say for this you need to have a great understanding of quad, but I'm not right now focusing on this approach. Why? Because for this you need to learn a lot of things, but that is why I am avoiding this. But I'll tell you that there is another possible answer, and that is the most simple one. Okay, so we have solved recursion, we have solved line programming. How did we solve recursion? This maneuvering a k problem. The reason we, sorry, this maneuvering a k problem. The only reason we chose this problem was because to get you a better understanding of recursion and dynamic programming, because most of you were having troubles in solving these sort of questions, right? That is why we choose this question. And how do you solve a recursion? You need to have a base condition, and you only need to have two things in a recursion. Okay, so your recursive call. Okay, firstly your base condition, from how from where do you have to stop. Okay, and next thing, your recursive call, how do we call it, how logic how the what logic to implement. And after that, dynamic programming. Dynamic programming can actually be a hell lot of confusing for a beginner, right? Because this is, to me also, when I started, it was one of the most infuriating topic, one of the most troublesome topic, because I never understood initially that what I was doing, why people are doing this, why are they creating this 2D matrix. But after just practicing a lot, that you just start thinking solutions. That since this problem is based on the solution of sub problems, I can use DP here, right? Because in DP you'll mostly get your answer in n square, if not in n. Okay, so what we did, we basically use the solution of a sub problem to generate the answer of a current problem, and to me this is the definition of dynamic programming. And I hope now you know how to approach this sort of question. So this was a solution of maneuvering a cave problem, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.